What's up, guys? Winter Kills here, coming at you with a updated Nekroz deck profile post ban list here in the July 2019 format. We got Shura to 2, and we have Jak Daxter Emerald back, so this deck definitely did get a little support on the ban list, which is great. And this is also the deck that you guys voted for in the latest poll that I took on my community tab. I think we had almost 300 something votes, or just over 300, and a majority of you guys voted to see Nekroz first. I'll be updating a ton of other decks as the week goes on, waiting on some cards in the mail to update decks like Invoked Mech Knight and Mermail and Orcus and all of these things. So yeah, gonna have a ton of updates coming, needless to say. And also, if you guys want to see a test stand video I did with this exact build, pretty much the same build, minus the Shura and the Emerald. I guess I would have to do a new test stand video because those two cards, especially Emerald, incorporate a lot of different plays that can be made. But if you want to see the last test stand video I did with this deck, it should be annotated up in the top right, also at the end of the video. And as you guys know, Imperium Duelist, lovely sponsor of this channel, writing some amazing mats and sleeves that you see here I'm using in this video, dice, all these amazing things. They're going to be coming out with a ton of new products soon, actually, so keep an eye out for that. I'll let you guys know, and check them out down in the description below, a link to their website, and a discount code that you can use at checkout to save 10% off on your entire order, so feel free to check that out. So now we'll go ahead and get started with the monsters, and to start, we have none other than 3 Nekroz of Brionac. Best card in the deck. You can pitch it to add a Nekroz monster from your deck to your hand, but it also has an effect that actually becomes a little more prevalent now, and that is the fact that you can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field that were special from the extra deck and shuffle them into the deck. So basically, I was doing a couple test stands on my own earlier, and I made Emerald with this card. And obviously, we know that Emerald is at 1, and prior, when Emerald was at multiple copies, you could just recycle your Emerald with another copy of Emerald. But one thing I was doing is I would make Emerald and I'd have Brio on field or whatever, and I would just bounce my Emerald back, because you can bounce back your own extra deck monsters as well. It doesn't specify that they have to be your opponent, so just a little cool thing I wanted to throw out there. Next, we have 2 Nekroz of Churchula. An extremely potent card when going in second. It's not really a turn 1 play. In most cases, it's going to be a turn 3 play or a turn 2 play, depending on who wins the dice roll. Being able to banish a card on your opponent's hand, field, and grave is very good. No non-targeting as well, but keep in mind you can only resolve that effect if your opponent possesses a card in each of those areas. And it also has the discard effect to basically protect any Nekroz monster or monsters you control from being targeted. It negates any activation that would target Nekroz monster or monsters. So very, very strong card there to protect your Unicorn. Then we have 2 Valkyrus. This card is fantastic. I love this card. Basically, when your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can banish a Nekroz card from your graveyard and discard this card to negate the attack, then end the battle phase. So very, very strong card. Does lose a little bit to Cult by the Grave. Definitely not going to beat around the bush there. This card does get hurt by Call by quite a bit. But nonetheless, still having a main decked Battle Fader is really strong. And then it also has the effect that says during your main phase, you can tribute up to 2 monsters from your hand and or field, and if you do, draw the same number of cards you tributed. So really, really strong card. And one of the things you can do now with Emerald is you can make Emerald, recycle all your resources you use that turn, and then Valk away Valk and the Emerald and draw 2 more cards. So really, really strong card to have in the main deck. I was playing, I think, 3 in the last list, decided to cut it down to 2 because I don't think 3 is necessary. 2 Clauseless, just standard. You search out your ritual spells. It does have the effect, though, to basically target a face-up monster on the field that was special in the extra deck, and until the end of the turn, that target's attack becomes 0, and also its effects are negated. So this card can basically punch through any extra deck monster. Pretty potent to leave on the field turn 1 sometimes, especially if you can leave a Unicorn there as well. So if they clear the Unicorn some way, shape, or form, you have the Clauseless to back it up. And then speaking of Unicorn, the 1 of Unicorn, hopefully this card will come back to 2 at some point, maybe in the next list, who knows. But basically, while it's on the field, you negate the effects of face-up monsters on the field that were special from the extra deck. So, complete skill drain for extra deck monsters. And it also has a discard effect where you can discard it back to add back any Nekroz card in your graveyard, whether it be monster or ritual spell. So, really, really strong card there. So, that is it for the Nekroz ritual monsters. Now, moving on to the incantations, we have triple Chalice Slime. I think I was playing 1 in the previous build, but with a little bit of feedback and a little bit of testing and understanding that, this card it's just really good. It might as well just be any of the Incantations that you open, but it's just sort of better than them because it takes one card. You just discard this and summon out any Incantation from your deck. But you will take 2,500 damage if you don't ritual summon after you resolve that effect. But most of the times you're going to be able to do that, so it doesn't make too big of a difference. Yeah, this card just helps to boost consistency in pretty much every way. Just discard it to, you know, sort of tutor out any Incantation from the deck. It does have another effect. This is ritual effect, but we're never really going to be able to, or never really going to want to ritual summon this card, although we technically can because we do play the one Inception. It's just not sort of relevant for the discussion. Then here we also have 2 copies of Ben 10 because we are playing the Ben 10 with the Vanity's Ruler, because this, when tributed, add to a light fairy, and lo and behold, Vanity's Ruler is a light fairy, you know, and so is Manju, so you can technically search Manju as well if you've already exhausted that play. And I think playing 2 of these is nice because whether you search it or you open it, it just helps to increase the consistency of pulling off that Vanity's Ruler combo. So that is it for the ritual monsters. All the ritual monsters first. Now we'll go with the other monsters, where we have 3 Manju of the 10,000 hands. A lot of people were sort of like wondering like whether I'd cut this or I'd keep it. This is a card I'm gonna main deck pretty much always, unless something comes up where this really isn't needed. But I think still having the opportunity to normal Manju in some cases where you don't have the Vanity's Ruler set up, or you know, it's the next turn and you want that good you know, sort of follow-up summon play to search and start your engine going again. I think Manju is very good. It also helps you to make rank 4s with Unicorn turn 1 or turn 3 or whatever turn it may be, to be able to go into some of your powerful rank 4 monsters that we play. Then moving on, we have 2 copies of Shuret, Strategist of the Nekroz. He's back to 2 Little Shuri. Yeah, this card coming to 2 is incredible. We don't really have to rely on, you know, top decking the one of now or wasting a Brio search to go get this. We increase the chances of drawing into this card now, which is nice. I think builds back in the day used to play 3 Shuret. I could be wrong, I'm not entirely sure, but the reason this card is so good is it allows you to use basically it as the entire tribute for the Ritual Summon of a Nekroz ritual monster, which is really strong. And then when it's tributed, you get to add a Warrior Nekroz monster, which searches you either Brio or Clausulus or Trish, which is some of the best cards in your deck to help continue to do combos. So now we'll go into the Incantation monsters. We have 2 Talismandra, 2 Candle, 2 Pencil Plume, and the one of Bookstone. Bookstone, I think, is the worst one by far. Just the one you don't want to draw into that much. You want to really just sort of summon up Chalice Line if you need to get back a ritual spell from your grave, whether it be a card like Kaleidoscope or something. That's really the only way you're going to want to get this card. You'd rather see some of these other guys first, but I think Bookstone has probably the worst effect to add back a ritual spell from grave. So it's just a card you don't want to see early on anyways. Then we have Vanity's Ruler. Drop this aboard completely, just because I realized it's really good on paper, and in a vacuum it's really, really, really strong. Send like all your extra deck monsters to the graveyard, and you know, send your opponent's basically entire extra deck to the graveyard as well. Super, super, super powerful. Although it kind of forces you to play like a weird going second style if you especially want to take advantage of NTTS. Like, you know, to resolve all 3 of them if you were going to play all 3 in the first place. But this card just seems so much more accessible and easy to get into, and it's a one-sided Vanity's Ruler. It's basically like a 2019 version of the Jinlock. That's the way I look at it. It's kind of scary how easily you can pull this off. If you open, I believe, Ben 10 in any incantation or Brio and any incantation, you have the play, because it's just vice versa if you open Ben 10 or Brio. I don't think it makes too big of a difference. Yes, the one of Vanity's Ruler, and that is it for the monsters. We'll go into the spells, where I have some budget options, if you will. But first to start, we have 3 prep rights. You gotta play the 3 prep. This card is literally crack. It's so good. It's not a hard once per turn. Add a level 7 a little ritual monster from the deck to your hand, and then on top of that, you can add a ritual spell card from your grave to your hand. So it's not a hard once per turn. That's like all I really can say. It's just so busted. 2 Celestial Observatory. This is basically my budget replacement for the Pot of Extravagance, because that card is a little too pricey for me just to want to go pick up right now as it stands. But this card is a very, very strong budget replacement. It says place any level 6 monster from your hand or field onto the bottom of your deck, which is cost, and then draw 2 cards. So we play Ben 10, Bryo, Talismandra, and we have tons of way to search them and get these cards onto the field. And one sort of important thing to note, if you open this with a standard Vanity's Ruler combo, you normally end with Bryo on field with Vanity's Ruler, and then you can just Observatory the Bryo back to the deck to draw more cards for next turn, because the Bryo on field really doesn't do anything. You can't use that effect to bounce extra deck monsters during your opponent's turn. If that was a quick effect, that'd be really busted. But yeah, I think playing this card as a solid budget replacement for Extravagance works very, very well. So next we have 2 Nekroz Cycle. Unfortunately, I only have the 1 secret rare that I pulled in that unboxing video I did yesterday, which you should go watch that if you haven't already. Should be annotated up in the top right or something like that. 2 Cycle, and then 1 Kaleidoscope, and 1 Mirror. This is a mirror lineup I've seen a lot of people going to lately, and I kind of agree with it, just because Cycle right now seems like one of the best ones just to use with Shuret and some things out of your hand or graveyard, and especially following up with the, the Vanity's Ruler combo, because a lot of times you're going to be using Cycle to tribute your Ben 10 to revive a Bryo from grave, and then search off of the Ben 10 to grab Vanity's Ruler, then to proceed with the tribute summon. A lot of these other ones are a bit more situational. You're really only going to use Kaleidoscope turn 1 with Unicorn in most cases, and some of your best opening hands. And Mirror is more of a follow-up play, especially to banish a card like Shuret out of grave, or Klaus and Bryo for a Trish play turn 2 or 3. So that's, I think playing them each at 1 is fine, except for the Cycle. And then we have the 1 Inception. This card comes up a little bit. I wouldn't cut it. I wouldn't play any more than 1 though, as it stands. I was thinking about cutting it because right now it's a 41 card build, because I just had to squeeze the Shuret in there and I didn't know what else to cut, especially for the next cards that we're playing. But Inception's nice. It just allows you to sort of clear your field of your incantations to ritual summon any monster from your hand. You can only use incantation monsters, but it allows you to exceed the level of the monster you're trying to summon, so it can come in handy in that sense. And then the last 3 cards are triple evenly matched, because Nekroz does have a very, very hard time going second, especially with a lot of decks wanting to make these really strong build-a-boards. Going first, you kind of need that extra pack-a-punch, something just to help break through those fields. And evenly matched comes to mind when thinking of a card like that. So I think this card works really great in that sense, and I'm going to continue to main it. I've decided to drop the summon limits just because I just don't think they're worth it at the end of the day. But now we will go into the extra deck, and we'll start with the Xyz monsters. So first things first, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Abyss Dweller, and 1 Exciton Knight, and then who could forget the Daigusto Emerald. Feels good to have this card back. It's just a really strong generic rank 4 to have back in the game. Really happy to see it, and this is not a common one. This is the Shatterfoil one. I wish I had the DT, but it's as close as I can get. And I still have this card, when it got banned, and I never got rid of it. And I'm really, really glad I held on to it. Hold on to banned cards, ladies and gentlemen, because you never know when they're going to come back, and then you're going to be scrambling with your pants down, and you got to go buy another copy, and you could just held on to it, and you wouldn't have had to done that. So yeah, Emerald, this card is insane in here. There's really not much else to say. 1 Phoenix, 1 Mastar Boy. The only links that I'm playing in here currently, I just don't really... I was going to play the Nepenthes link, whatever that uses ritual monsters, but it just seems kind of like not necessary at all. Then we have 3 Herald of the Arclight. I don't know if 3 is necessary, but like there's just so much room in the extra deck that it doesn't matter. And that, again, that's why part of the reason, like if you were to play Extravagance, you would probably still play 3 Herald, just so you increase the chances of not banishing this card. But yeah, 3 Herald. 1 Dulorn is just a level 6 target to go right for Bryo off of Kaleidoscope, because sometimes that can be helpful, especially going against a deck like Thunder Dragon, where you open Bryo and maybe a copy of your Kaleidoscope. You can't search to get to Unicorn, and then just sending this for the Kaleidoscope is just the next best thing. Then we have 1 White Orb Bahamut. It's just a level 10 target to send to be able to summon like Bryonak and Unicorn off the Kaleidoscope, or to be able to summon. Well, I was playing Gungnir previously, as you see we're not playing Gungnir anymore. But yeah, Brio Unicorn, really, again, not necessary, just a little personal preference. Then we have 2 copies of NTTS, or Entis, I don't know why I say NTTS. You could probably just get away with playing one of these and playing another Link, like a Cerberus or something, not necessary. And then we have 1 Elemental Hero, Cosmo Neos. This is just a level 11. I couldn't find a Star Eater. I don't even think I own a Star Eater currently, and I was just looking for a random level 11, and this is the first one that I found. So, yeah, just so you can summon your Valk and your Clauselus, just different options for the Kaleidoscope play. And then 1 level 12, the Armatile, the Chaos Phantom. Again, it could be Quasar, 5-headed Dragon, etc., etc. Doesn't matter. This is for the Valk Unicorn. You used to do a triple Unicorn with this back in the day. You'd send a level 12 and summon 3 Unicorns. That actually happened to a friend of mine at a YCS, I think. Still haunts him to this day, because he got OTK'd by somebody that sent a level 12, summoned 3 Unicorns, and punched with all 3 of them in a Manju, I believe, for a game. So yeah, that actually happened. But yeah, that's it for the profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. Really excited to see where this deck goes in the future. Hopefully we get more support off the list. Maybe Unicorn comes to 2. I certainly wouldn't complain if that was the case, but who knows if it will happen. It is the hands of Konami. So, oh yeah, one thing else I want to mention was I thought about playing one of the Blackluster Soldier of Chaos, because you do play some level 7 or higher monsters, and this can sort of help go for a game in some situations. That's sort of just another honorable mention, I guess, because we do play level 7 or higher. So it's also just a good rank or Link 3. You don't always have to use a level 7 or higher to go into it, because it still gets bonus effects when it kills things by battle. So, but yeah, that's it for this profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Also, I want to thank you guys for the huge support on the last deck profile we did. I think it almost has like 8,000 views or something right now, which is crazy. The one we uploaded back in June. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, WinterKills signing out. We'll see you in the next one.